This story right here, I was actually looking for, but I couldn't find it because I did not know the man's name. I only knew of his face. And the way that the story came to me was after the one I recently did that Craig sent to me about the ex-stripper who was messing with the minor, the 4-year-old boy that I just recently talked about, and the dog. Now, this story I'm talking about, if I was to put them in order, as I guess you can say in date order, this one happened, well, this story came out before, and the one about the stripper came out after. But these stories are so identical, the only difference is this guy's a man and the stripper was a woman. But the stories are pretty much almost exactly the same. So in this picture, you see a man by the name of Terry Yetman, and he's a former cop. He was part of the K-9 unit. And this guy not only had possession of child pornography, but he also sexually abused his dog. His canine dog, might I add. And you know, most canine dogs tend to be German Shepherds. Now, I don't know what type of dog he had, but I found a lot of canine dogs tend to be German Shepherd type dogs, but there's some big dogs. These aren't puppies by any measure, might I add. These things will bite. When they bite and they latch onto you, that's it. But I'm going to go ahead and get into it because this article that I'm about to read from that was posted on November 27, 2021, mind you, I'm recording this on November 28th, 2021, says that this guy has been sentenced. So this sounds pretty updated. I don't know what his sentencing is, especially since this story just came out like 4 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago. Let's see. And this one's coming out of Louisiana too. And I believe that story about the ex-stripper was in Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. So there they have something else in common. A former Louisiana police officer faces 20 years in prison for possession of child pornography and sexually abusing his dog. Former Bossier City police officer Terry Yetman was sentenced to 4 years for each of the 5 counts of sexual abuse to animals and a concurrent sentence of 20 years for the child porn charge. Yetman pled guilty to the charges in August and numerous additional counts were dismissed. Yetman, see, here's the thing. PC is able to do them guilty pleas or plead guilty and get all those other charges dismissed that shouldn't be dismissed. I'm curious to know what the other charges were. If these were the only ones they got him on, which seems like these were the heavier charges, I'm curious to see what the other additional charges were. And would they really have mattered in this particular case? Yetman, age 42, was arrested in 2018 and charged with sexually abusing his dog and possessing pornographic images of a person doing the same. He faced a subsequent child porn charge in 2019, Bossier now reported. State police took custody of the retired K-9 named Boss and sent him to a rescue in Texas. Bossier police fired Yetman, and he has remained in jail since his arrest, and Yetman will have to register as a sex offender. That's crazy. This guy is about as trifling as she is, as the ex-stripper. The only thing that makes hers a little bit more intense is the fact that she actually engaged in the act with the minor. Now, I don't know what this guy did outside of him just watching child pornography. That's sick enough as it is. Outside of, you know, that, of course, him doing what he did to his dog and his canine dog, the dog that is supposed to be like his partner. He took his dog being his partner to a whole nother level of deviancy. Now, see, when it comes to bestiality, PC, they lead in extraterrestrial numbers. I was about to come up with a whole other word, but I said, let me keep it simple. They lead in extraterrestrial numbers when it comes to them dealing with animals and having sex with them. And that is not only the nastiest fetish I've ever heard of, but it's one of the weirdest. Like, how do you find pleasure in sexualizing or being sexual in nature with a dog? Now, I know what y'all are going to say in the comments. Well, as far as I can see, that's 2 animals having sex with each other. I can see that on the one hand, but society will see him as a human being, but I don't see what humane person would ever think to engage in such an act. And like I said, this is his canine dog. So this is a dog that has been assigned to him to basically patrol with and watch over. Like literally the dog is always with him. He's lucky the dog did not bite in an area that doesn't grow back. And as far as him having the child porn, that doesn't surprise me either. I wonder how much he had. I wonder, not to say that it really matters, but still at the same time, it sounds to me like he was collecting for a while, because they said this man has got found out back in 2018, and that was now that I think about it, that's something else I think that this story has in common with the one about the ex-stripper, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they found her out around that same time too. I could be wrong. It's so many parallels between both of these stories. It's so weird. That's why when I saw the one about the ex-stripper, I said, didn't they just get a white man about the same thing? And like, I think they're in the same state. The only difference is she was a stripper. He was a cop. He's a man. She's a woman. But everything else, like what landed them in jail, almost matches up. And I think their sentences are identical as well. And I think they both have to register as a sex offender. I mean, weird how both of those stories literally almost came out around the same time too. But guess who's not talking about it? Lamestream media. And why wouldn't they? I'm sorry, and why would they? It doesn't fit their narrative. But Chicago, right? Y'all let me know what y'all think about this sick story down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.